If you've ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what's out there, you're not alone. Getting your first telescope can feel overwhelming with all the technical terms and options available. But here's the thing, you don't need to spend thousands of dollars or have a PhD in astronomy to start exploring the cosmos from your backyard. Today I'm going to break down everything you need to know about choosing your first telescope. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and what to avoid. Let's start with the most important question. What can you actually expect to see with a beginner telescope? Forget those glossy photos you see from the Hubble Space Telescope. Your backyard telescope won't show you those vibrant colors and crystal clear details. What you will see is still absolutely incredible though. The moon's craters will appear so detailed you'll feel like you could reach out and touch them. Saturn's rings will be clearly visible, and Jupiter's 4 largest moons will look like tiny stars lined up next to the planet. Now, the first thing most beginners get wrong is thinking bigger is always better. You'll see telescopes advertised with claims like, sees 600 times farther than the naked eye, or 900x magnification. Here's the truth. Magnification means almost nothing without the right foundation. It's like trying to blow up a blurry photo on your phone. You can make it bigger, but it doesn't make it clearer. What really matters is something called aperture. This is the diameter of your telescope's main mirror or lens, and it determines how much light your telescope can gather. More light means brighter, clearer images. A telescope with a 6-inch aperture will always outperform a 3-inch telescope, regardless of what the magnification claims say. For beginners, I recommend starting with at least a 4-inch aperture, though 6 inches is even better if your budget allows. Anything smaller than 3 inches, and you're going to be disappointed with what you can see. Next, let's talk about the 3 main types of telescopes. Refractor telescopes use lenses and look like what most people picture when they think telescope. They're great for looking at planets and the moon, require very little maintenance, and are usually the most durable. The downside is they can be expensive for larger apertures. Reflector telescopes use mirrors instead of lenses. They give you the most aperture for your money, which means better views of faint objects like galaxies and nebulae. The trade-off is they require more maintenance and can be a bit more finicky to set up. Then there are compound telescopes, which combine both mirrors and lenses. These are compact and versatile, but tend to be the most expensive option. For most beginners, I actually recommend starting with a reflector telescope. You'll get the best bang for your buck, and the maintenance isn't as scary as it sounds. Now let's talk about mounts, because this is where a lot of beginners make costly mistakes. Your telescope is only as good as what it's sitting on. A shaky mount will make even the best telescope unusable. There are 2 main types: alta-zenith mounts that move up, down, and left-right, and equatorial mounts that are aligned with Earth's rotation. Alta-zenith mounts are much easier for beginners. They're intuitive to use. If you want to look higher, you move the telescope up. Want to look left? Move it left. Simple. Many come with motors that can automatically track objects as they move across the sky. Equatorial mounts are more complex but better for astrophotography if that's something you might want to try later. For your first telescope though, stick with alta-zenith. Here's something nobody talks about. Where you live makes a huge difference. If you're in a city with lots of light pollution, you'll struggle to see faint objects no matter what telescope you have. But don't let that stop you. The moon, planets, and bright star clusters will still look amazing, and you can always drive to darker skies for special viewing sessions. Budget is obviously important, but here's my advice. Buy once, cry once. It's better to save up for a quality telescope that will last years than to buy a cheap one that will frustrate you and end up in your closet. You can find excellent beginner telescopes in the $300 to $600 range. Avoid department store telescopes at all costs. If you see a telescope at a big box store promising incredible magnification for under $200, walk away. These are toys designed to disappoint. Also, don't forget about accessories. You'll need eyepieces for different magnifications, a red flashlight to preserve your night vision, and maybe a moon filter to reduce the moon's brightness. Some telescopes come with decent starter accessories, but you'll likely want to upgrade eventually. One more crucial point: consider a Dobsonian telescope for your first purchase. These are essentially reflector telescopes on simple, stable mounts. They're incredibly user-friendly, give you great value for money, and many astronomers swear by them even after decades of experience. The best telescope is the one you'll actually use. A complex, expensive telescope that sits in your garage helps nobody. Start with something manageable that gets you excited about astronomy, and you can always upgrade later as your interest and knowledge grow. Remember, astronomy is a journey, not a destination. Your first telescope is just the beginning of an incredible adventure exploring the universe from your own backyard.